Hey everyone, welcome back. So, seeming that we are actually done drawing our map, we're starting a new series today. This series is mainly going to be focused on populating your world and adding depth to that world, and also creating potential plot lines for your D&D games. So, what better way to start than talking about how we name things? So when I place names, I really have to think about what culture is in that nation, because culture is a driver for language, and language is going to be your driver for how you place your names. So in the past, the most common way that I've seen to come up with names is to get a bunch of fantasy sounding syllables and jumble them together and see what you get and put it down on a piece of paper. This method, it's all good and fine for sure, but we're dealing with a continental scale, right? If we had names that sounded more or less the same in all of our regions, then we're kind of accidentally creating a giant monoculture for an entire continent. And as you guys probably know, very rarely do continents have the same culture throughout the entire continent. Instead, a really good method is to look to history and to look to real-world cultures. For example, here we have the Dwarven city-state of Ancora. To get this name, I decided to hybridize the ancient Khmer Empire with Lord of the Rings dwarves. The name Ancora is actually derived from the ancient Khmer temple, Angkor Wat. When using this strategy, probably the best thing to avoid is using really common historical or cultural references, right? So over here, I have sort of a, kind of Latin Empire kind of theme going on, right? But as you can see, I haven't used Rome or, Naples or any of those names, right? They're just too common. So instead, what I did is I took syllables and made them new names. And I also took some other historical references and kind of put them in there too. When choosing sounds or syllables for the names that you're going to be putting down, it's a good idea to use references. For example, I have these two countries right here, which are based off of the Gujarati and the Punjabi cultures of India. I looked up on a map what kind of syllables they use to create names, and then I just took those syllables and I ran with it. I also looked up historical names of different kingdoms that were in India as well. So another strategy that you can use after you've figured out what sort of language group you want the particular nation you've created to be a part of is you take an English descriptive word and you put it into a translator, and you can come up with some pretty cool stuff. I have two examples here, which the first one is Port Amora. Now, I've based this culture off of the French, and Amora is, I believe it's just love. So this is Port Love. And then I also did up here another one, and this is Mont Blanc, which just means White Mountain. I actually learned later on that Mont Blanc is actually the name of like an actual mountain, but it's super cool. So I'm just going to keep it. All right, here's another example. So down here, we have this nation with the orange dots. This kind of reminded me of Panama, so I decided to base this culture off of modern-day Central American cultures. So I decided to use Spanish-sounding syllables to make names. As you can see here, we have Santador, which is basically just Santa, which means like a female saint, and then Dor, which actually I took from Lord of the Rings, which means like land, I guess. So it just means saint's land, basically. Knowledge is built upon the foundations of previous knowledge. So draw from many different sources. I mean, there's so much out there. You might as well use it, right? I mean, also take what you know and use that too, right? Just combine different things and you get some awesome sounding names and some great, very unique cultures. All right, guys, I think that just about covers everything. If you guys want to know more, just leave it in the comments, ask me some questions, I'll get back to you. I think next video, what we're probably going to be doing is we're going to go over political borders and dive a little bit deeper into choosing cultures. So if you liked it, leave me a like. If you think about subscribing, that'd be great too. All right, guys, I'll see you around.